The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not explicitly forbid the use of a single ground rod for grounding two service panels in a duplex. This means that, according to the NEC, it is generally permissible to connect two separate service panels in a duplex to a single grounding electrode, such as a ground rod. However, it's crucial to understand the full scope of the NEC requirements for grounding and bonding to ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. The purpose of a grounding electrode system, which includes ground rods, is to provide a path for fault current to return to the source, allowing overcurrent protection devices like circuit breakers or fuses to trip and clear the fault. This helps to minimize the risk of electrical shock and fire. While the NEC permits sharing a ground rod, several factors must be considered. Firstly, the ground rod must meet the minimum requirements outlined in the NEC. Typically, this involves using a ground rod that is at least 8 feet long and made of approved materials, such as copper or copper-clad steel. The diameter of the ground rod is also specified in the NEC. Secondly, the grounding electrode conductor, or GEC, which connects the service panels to the ground rod, must be sized appropriately based on the size of the service entrance conductors. NEC Table 250.66 provides guidance on sizing the GEC. It's important to use the correct size conductor to ensure that it can safely carry fault current. Thirdly, the connection between the GEC and the ground rod must be made using approved methods and connectors. The NEC specifies acceptable methods for connecting conductors to grounding electrodes to ensure a reliable and low impedance connection. Fourthly, the NEC requires that all grounding electrodes be bonded together to form a grounding electrode system. This means that if there are other grounding electrodes present, such as a metallic water pipe or a building steel, they must be connected to the ground rod using a bonding jumper. This ensures that all grounding electrodes are at the same potential, reducing the risk of voltage differences and circulating current. Fifthly, it is important to verify the effectiveness of the grounding electrode system. The NEC requires that the impedance of the grounding electrode system be low enough to allow overcurrent protection devices to trip quickly in the event of a fault. This can be verified by performing a ground impedance test. Sixthly, local codes or amendments may have additional requirements or restrictions on the use of a single ground rod for multiple service panels. It's essential to check with the local electrical inspector or authority having jurisdiction to ensure compliance with all applicable codes. Seventhly, the NEC specifies the requirements for the location of the ground rod. It should be installed in an area where it is likely to be in contact with the earth year-round. It should also be protected from physical damage. Eighthly, in some cases, it may be necessary to install more than one ground rod to achieve the required grounding impedance. The NEC allows for the use of multiple ground rods spaced at least 6 feet apart to improve the effectiveness of the grounding electrode system. Ninthly, it is important to properly document the grounding electrode system. This includes keeping records of the type and size of the ground rod, the size of the GEC, and the results of any ground impedance tests. Tenthly, it is always a good idea to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the grounding electrode system is installed correctly and in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. Grounding and bonding are critical for electrical safety, and it's important to get it right. The NEC is a comprehensive document that provides detailed requirements for electrical installations. It is updated regularly to reflect changes in technology and best practices. It is important to stay up to date in the latest version of the NEC to ensure compliance. In addition to the NEC, there are other standards and guidelines that may be relevant to grounding and bonding, such as those published by the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. These standards provide more detailed information on specific aspects of grounding and bonding, such as grounding of sensitive electronic equipment. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. It helps to protect people from electrical shock, prevent fires, and reduce the risk of equipment damage. It is important to take grounding and bonding seriously and to ensure that all electrical installations are properly grounded and bonded in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. When dealing with electrical systems, it is always best to err on the side of caution. If there is any doubt about the proper way to ground and bond an electrical system, it is best to consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide expert advice and ensure that the installation is safe and code-compliant. Remember that electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from electrical hazards. Always follow safe work practices and use appropriate personal protective equipment when working with electrical systems. Before working on any electrical equipment, be sure to de-energize the circuit and verify that it is dead using a reliable voltage tester. Never work on live electrical equipment unless you are properly trained and equipped. If you are not comfortable working with electrical systems, it is best to leave the work to a qualified electrician. They have the knowledge, skills, and experience to safely and effectively install, repair, and maintain electrical systems. Grounding and bonding are complex topics, and there is a lot of information to learn. However, by taking the time to understand the basics, you can help to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. In summary, while the NEC doesn't explicitly prevent using one ground rod for 2 service panels in a duplex, adherence to all other NEC requirements regarding grounding electrode systems is mandatory. This includes proper sizing of conductors, approved connection methods, bonding of all grounding electrodes, and verification of grounding effectiveness. Always consult local codes and a qualified electrician for specific guidance and to ensure compliance.